I sometimes wonder why we feel tired even though we haven't done any physically demanding work, and why anxiety accompanies us even in moments of calm. The answer lies in our nerves, in the nervous system that stores everything we have been through and interacts with our daily lives in subtle ways that sometimes make us prisoners of stress without realizing the cause. Through this book, you will learn that healing begins when we listen to our body, understand its signals, and deal with stress and fear in a gentle, conscious way. You will discover that anxiety is not an enemy, but a message from your nervous system that it needs you to understand and to give it the tools to return to a state of balance and calm. From conscious breathing and simple movement to body awareness and understanding trapped emotions, all the way to building a healthy daily routine and supportive relationships, this book offers you practical, clear steps to reprogram your nervous system, to live each moment with greater awareness, and to find yourself calmer and more capable of handling life's challenges with confidence and clarity. The purpose is not merely to provide information, but to restore your life to its natural course, where the mind is clear, the body is relaxed, and the spirit is present in all its strength. It is a journey towards a life dominated by balance, tranquility, and inner clarity. A life in which you learn to be in harmony with yourself and the world around you, and to live each day with strength and true calm. Before we begin, make sure to press the like button and subscribe, because what you will learn today may be the turning point you've been waiting for. Chapter 1. When the body speaks in silence. Have you ever felt a vague fatigue with no explanation, or a tightness in your chest whose cause you don't know? Perhaps you thought it was just exhaustion, but the truth is much deeper than that. The body does not forget. It stores every fear, sadness, and confusion it has experienced. Even when your mind thinks the page has been turned, inside you there is another memory, not written in words, but in sensation. The body speaks, but in a language we don't always hear. It speaks through muscle tension, trembling hands, or a sudden palpitation in the heart, sometimes through lack of sleep or a recurring pain in the same place. It is its way of saying, there's something that hasn't been healed yet. And the more we ignore it, the more it raises its voice, not to hurt us, but to remind us that we are still carrying something inside that needs understanding and containment. We learned from childhood how to hide our feelings and appear strong, but we did not learn how to listen to ourselves. We are afraid of crying, of weakness, of stopping for a single moment. We rush into busyness so we don't hear the internal noise. And yet, the body does not rest. It records every tremor of fear, every moment of pain that found no one to embrace it. The anxiety that visits you without an appointment, the insomnia that steals your sleep, and the distress that chokes in your chest are not just psychological problems. They're signals from your nervous system asking for help. It tells you in a simple language, you have endured more than you can bear. It's time to calm down. And here lies the secret. The solution is not in ignoring the pain or suppressing emotions, but in wisely listening to them. When you begin to notice what your body feels without judgment or resistance, you take the first step in healing. Every acknowledged feeling is an energy liberated from within the body, and every moment of awareness brings you a step back towards inner safety. The body does not need commands, but safety. It is not healed by being shouted at, but by the reassurance we give it. Sometimes, all it needs is for us to say, I hear you, and only then does calm begin to seep slowly and sincerely into your depths. In the next chapter, we will discover how this amazing system that resides within us all works, the nervous system. We will see how it controls our emotions and reactions, and why fear sometimes ignites without a clear reason. For understanding how it works is the second step in the journey of regaining balance, after we have finally listened to the body's silent voice. Chapter 2. What exactly is the nervous system? Imagine you live inside an amazing machine that has been working nonstop since your birth. It regulates your breath, keeps your heart beating, and controls your emotions, reactions, and even the way you look at the world. This machine is your nervous system, the silent commander of everything that happens within you. It is not just a network of nerves. It is a system of life that decides at every moment, Are you safe or in danger? The nervous system works as a sensitive balance between two states. The first is known as the sympathetic nervous system, responsible for fight or flight, the state that pushes you to react quickly to danger or stress. The second is the parasympathetic nervous system, the calm side that returns you to stillness, digestion, sleep, and the feeling of safety. These two systems work as a team. One ignites energy when you need it, and the other extinguishes it when it's time to rest. But the problem begins when the switch gets stuck in the danger position. When a nervous system lives in a state of constant alert, even without a real threat, the body becomes as if it is running nonstop. The heart races, breath shortens, muscles tense, and an ordinary day turns into an invisible battle. And so, chronic stress begins to creep silently into your life. Not because you are weak, but because your body still thinks you are in danger. The intriguing thing is that this system does not distinguish between real and metaphorical danger. A simple argument, remembering a past situation, or even a disturbing thought can ignite the nervous system as if you were running from a tiger. It doesn't think, it responds immediately. Its role is to protect you, even if it misjudges the situation. When we realize this, we understand that stress is not an enemy, but a useful alarm signal. It says, there is something making you uncomfortable. Pay attention. But we live in a time where danger is no longer physical, but psychological. Work pressures, expectations, comparisons, and the fear of failure. And because the nervous system does not distinguish between external and internal danger, it remains in a state of constant readiness, exhausting both body and mind. The good news is that this system can be retrained. You can teach it anew how to distinguish between safety and danger, how to calm down after stress, and how to return to its natural balance. And here begins the true journey of healing, when we move from understanding how the nervous system works to understanding how the experiences and traumas we've been through program it. This is what we will discover in the next chapter: how trauma programs our nervous systems and why we relive pain even after it has passed. Chapter 3. How trauma programs our nervous systems. Sometimes, events do not end when they are over. Trauma happens in a second, but it leaves an effect in the body that lasts for years. The mind may forget what happened, but the nervous system never forgets. It records every confusion, every fear, every moment you felt unsafe, and saves it as an open file that does not close. And from here begins the true story of trauma, not in the past, but in what remains alive within us. Trauma is not always a major event or a tragedy. Sometimes it is a hurtful word, a look, neglect, or a recurring feeling of not being enough. Any experience that left you with contraction or fear and found no one to contain, it becomes a mark recorded in the nervous system. Over time, the body learns to live in a state of constant readiness for any danger resembling that first experience, even if it no longer actually exists. Imagine, for example, a child who was yelled at and felt terror and found no one to reassure him. That child may become an adult who gets tense from any loud noise without realizing the reason. The event ended, but the feeling of danger remained. This is the hidden programming that brings us back repeatedly to the same scene, albeit in different forms. The nervous system acts as if it is protecting you, so it keeps you in a state of alert. But that protection turns into a burden when it lasts. Every time you face a simple pressure, the body invokes that old memory of danger. Your heart races, your chest tightens, and you lose control over your calm. This is how trauma repeats itself in your life, not as a memory, but as a repeated neural response. What we don't realize is that our bodies are trying to complete the unfinished story. At the moment of trauma, we couldn't defend ourselves or escape, so the energy remained trapped inside. And when we allow ourselves to feel, to cry, or to express repressed anger, we give the body the opportunity to close what was not closed before. Only then does the nervous system begin to free itself from its old programming. Healing from trauma does not mean forgetting what happened, but disconnecting the body from the danger that has ended. To tell your body, it's over. You are safe now. That simple sentence, when said with sincerity and awareness, changes the way the nervous system interacts with all of life. In the next chapter, we will see how this neural programming turns into a vortex of chronic stress, why many people live in an endless internal battle, and how we can break this cycle to reclaim calm once again. Chapter 4. The Vortex of Chronic Stress. In the beginning, stress was a means of survival. When a person faces danger, the body sharpens all its energies to prepare. The heart beats faster, breathing quickens, and muscles prepare for movement. But when this temporary preparedness turns into a permanent state, stress becomes a prison we live in without seeing it. We wake up tired, fall asleep anxious, and go through life as if running all the time without knowing where to. Chronic stress doesn't come all at once. It creeps in slowly. It starts with a small thought we didn't calm, a worry we ignored, a pressure we said was normal. Then, day after day, the nervous system learns to remain stressed even when there is no danger. It becomes like a guard who doesn't sleep, seeing threat in every movement, every word, every look. When a body lives in a state of preparedness for danger for too long, the mind begins to interpret the entire world through it. Suddenly, the future becomes a source of anxiety, relationships a source of fear, and rest itself seems strange. It is like living in a constant alarm where nothing seems completely safe. The result is persistent fatigue, interrupted sleep, and volatile emotions that don't end. In this vortex, we begin to believe that this is our nature. We tell ourselves, I'm always stressed. This is my personality. But the truth is, this is an acquired neural pattern, not a permanent identity. Your nervous system learns to stay in fight mode, and it can also learn to return to rest. It doesn't need a magic cure, but a signal of safety. The exhaustion you feel is not weakness, but a message from your body. It is not punishing you. It is trying to get your attention. Stop. You have exceeded the limit. And when you start listening to these signals instead of ignoring them, the cycle begins to break. For stress is not defeated by force, but by awareness, calm, and intentional slowness. The first step towards freedom from chronic stress is realizing that you are not the problem. Rather, the system living in a state of constant alarm is what needs calming. When you understand that, you stop fighting yourself and begin reteaching your body how to feel safe. And this is the true turning point that we will begin to explore in the next chapter. The path back to safety, where we learn how to restore our internal balance and open the door for the first calm breath after years of stress. Chapter 5. The Path Back to Safety. Here begins the true journey towards healing. For rest does not come when we tell ourselves, I am fine, but when the body believes that statement. Words are not enough because the nervous system does not understand logic, but sensation. You can smile while extremely stressed and say everything is fine while your body is screaming from within. That is why the return to safety does not happen through thought, but from within, from the body itself. When the body feels safe, everything calms down. Breathing balances, heart rate decreases, and the mind clears. It is as if you were living in a storm and then suddenly entered a warm, safe place. That feeling is not a luxury, but a fundamental condition for a balanced life. Without safety, we cannot think clearly, love sincerely, or sleep peacefully. But how do we know we have left the state of safety? Here comes the concept of the window of tolerance for regulation. It is the internal space where the nervous system is balanced, not dormant nor stressed, but stable. When we leave this window, we rise to anxiety and fear, or sink into numbness and apathy. The key is to learn to return to it whenever we leave. The window of tolerance is not a theoretical idea, but a state that can be observed daily. When you're inside it, you feel present, you breathe easily, and you think clearly. When you leave it, everything becomes magnified. Sounds bother you, simple words hurt you, and minor situations seem threatening. Not because you are weak, but because your nervous system has lost its balance and needs someone to restore its calm. The beautiful thing is that return is always possible, no matter how long the absence. The body does not forget the path to safety, It just needs a reminder. We can return it to that state through simple practices. Deep breathing, slow movement, or just touching something warm brings us back to the present. Every small signal the body picks up says to it, "You are okay now." And when you begin to reclaim this feeling bit by bit, you will notice a profound change. Thoughts become calmer, stress lessens, and your reactions become balanced. The pressures around you won't stop, but you will learn how to remain stable in the eye of the storm. For this is true safety, to be able to calm down no matter how the world around you changes. Chapter 6, Breathing, the Gateway to Calm. Breathing is the first thing we do when we come to life and the last thing we do when we leave it. Yet, we spend our lives without giving it real attention. We take our breaths for granted, while in truth, it is the primary healing tool we carry with us at every moment. When a nervous system is disturbed and the anxiety alarm ignites, it doesn't need words or analysis, but a calm and sincere breath. Breathing is not just an exchange of air. It is a message the body reads at every moment. Rapid, shallow breathing tells it, danger is near. Get ready. While slow, deep breathing whispers, everything is fine. You can calm down. In this sense, inhalation and exhalation can be the on-off switch for the nervous system, igniting fear or extinguishing it depending on how we breathe. Try to stop now for a minute. Place your hand on your chest and take a slow inhale through your nose, counting to 4. Then hold your breath for 7 seconds and exhale slowly through your mouth to the count of 8. This is the 4-7-8 breathing technique, proven effective in calming nerves and reducing stress. You will feel something inside you begin to soften, as if you have been holding your breath for a long time. With every calm exhalation, you send a signal to your brain. The danger is over. And with every balanced inhalation, life returns to your internal energy. It is a simple process, but it changes the entire chemistry of the body. It lowers adrenaline, activates calm areas in the brain, and returns you to the window of safety we talked about in the previous chapter. The most beautiful part is that breathing requires no tools or special place. You can practice it at work, on the road, or even in the middle of a crowd. Whenever you feel yourself drowning in anxiety, return to your breath. It is the rope that ties you to the present moment and the fastest way to remind your nervous system that you are still here and still safe. Over time, calm breathing becomes a habit, not a temporary rescue. You learn to start your day with conscious breaths and end it with a reassuring exhale. Every breath cycle becomes a small step towards internal stability, returning you to yourself and returning yourself to you. But breathing is just the beginning. Once we calm the storm inside us, we begin to listen to what the body is saying with a clearer voice. Chapter 7, Body Awareness. Most of the time, we live in our heads, not in our bodies. We think a lot, worry more, and forget the place where our souls actually reside, the body. But the truth is, the body never forgets. It records everything we've been through, every fear we suppressed, every anger we cursed, every sadness we didn't allow to cry. It is the silent memory that speaks in its own language, the language of tension, pain, and contraction. Body awareness is the art of listening to that forgotten language. To notice your shoulders when they feel heavy for no reason, to realize you are holding your breath whenever you feel anxious, or to clench your jaw without noticing. These signals don't need analysis, but gentle attention. Every tension in the body is a message from your inside saying, there is something that needs care. When you begin to notice your body, you begin the journey back to it. You learn to ask, where do I feel the distress? What is the shape of this feeling in my body? Is it heaviness, heat, contraction? And with every sincere observation, the body begins to breathe again, as if you finally said to it, I hear you. No wonder many scientists today see body awareness as the first door to neural healing. For when you notice tension instead of resisting it, it gradually releases. And when you listen to a sensation without judging it, it calms automatically. With this simplicity, we restore our relationship with the body and learn how to live in it peacefully instead of living outside it. Body awareness is not a luxury, but a necessity. It is what returns us to the present moment and gives us the internal compass that tells us when to rest and when to move, when to say yes and when to say enough. And when we learn to listen to our bodies, we become more honest with ourselves and less violent towards them. Start with simple steps. Notice your sitting posture, the rhythm of your breath, the position of your feet on the ground. Allow yourself to feel what you feel without trying to escape. For every sensation, even if disturbing, carries a message your body wants you to understand. And every time you listen to it, you become more aware, more present, and calmer. And when this listening is complete, the body begins to move as if dancing towards healing. Observation turns into movement and stillness into flow. Chapter 8: Movement as Therapy. In the depths of every unexplained tension lies energy that hasn't found its way out. We don't store memories only in our minds, but also in our bodies. That's why when we stop moving, the body begins to stiffen and the mind to tense. Stagnation keeps pain trapped, while movement releases it. Movement is not a luxury or just physical exercise. It's the body's language when it wants to heal. When we walk slowly after a long day, we are not just moving our legs. We're moving the anxiety and fear stuck inside us. Every step is a small declaration of freedom. I am not a prisoner of what happened. A simple stretch in the morning or quiet dancing in an empty room is a form of reprogramming the nervous system. The body that was hiding from life begins, bit by bit, to trust it again. Science today confirms what instinct has known since ancient times. Movement restores balance between the two branches of the nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic. For when the body moves, it feels safe, and when it feels safe, the mind calms down. And between inhalation and exhalation, between one step and the next, something like magic happens. Life begins to flow again. What is required is not difficult exercises or complex sports. It is enough to move consciously, to walk slowly and pay attention to the sound of your footsteps, to stretch your arms and breathe deeply, to let your body shake a little to discharge the stress it has stored. The miracle lies not in the type of movement, but in the intention of liberation that accompanies it. Every conscious movement says to the nervous system, I am here now, and I am okay. And every time you give your body a chance to express itself, you will discover that calm is not only a mental state, but a physical one as well. Liberation does not start from thoughts, but from the feet, from the hands, from the deep breath. With this understanding, movement becomes a silent prayer, a way to reconcile with yourself, your body, and life itself. Instead of fighting our feelings or trying to suppress them, we allow them to pass through us in the form of movement. Thus, they are freed without hurting us and leave without leaving a painful trace. Chapter 9: Stuck Emotions. Emotions are not just passing thoughts in the mind. They're the body's silent language. Repressed anger appears in tight shoulders, long-term sadness in a heavy chest, and fear leaves its mark in the stomach and back. When we try to ignore these signals, the body begins to retain them, as if saying, I won't let this feeling go. I'll keep it until you give me your attention. Many of us think that controlling emotions means suppressing or ignoring them. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Control means allowing them to move through us without controlling us. To feel anger without hurting anyone. To feel sadness without drowning in despair. To acknowledge fear without allowing it to close the doors of our lives. The body works here as an honest scale. Every muscle contraction, every tension in the jaw or tightness in the neck tells you what hasn't been said yet. The challenge is not to get rid of these emotions, but to perceive and acknowledge them. When you allow them natural movement, the trapped energy begins to release and the pressure on the nervous system lessens. We hope from the bottom of our hearts that one chapter, Audiobooks Magazine, has left a positive impact on your lives and has been a help to you on the path of understanding, maturity, and change for the better. We always strive to provide you with beneficial content that is close to your hearts and we ask God to make it purely for his noble face. Do not forget